My numbers is Instagram पे 30K, YouTube पे 2.6, LinkedIn पे 32, Twitter पे 4. But I'll tell you my numbers on monetization. LinkedIn पे I get one brand deal every 2 months worth 80,000. I am a face of some performance marketing ads and I make 50K or something every 2 months. सारा इकट्ठा करो 1.5 lakhs. Now if you correlate this with the number, it has no math. Now what does this tell you? This tells you that it's a false myth कि views का funneling is monetization. No.
Let's say you've reached 5 million subscribers, right? How do you go to 10 million?
Why 10 million? A lot of creators, and I think most of the creators are very very aware that the lifespan is hardly 5 years. India Bollywood का नहीं छोड़ता है. आप तो कुछ भी नहीं हो. They will make a Nawazuddin Siddiqui, make them relevant for 5 years. उसके बाद he's gone. A Shah Rukh Khan is timeless because he's not known for anything. Because he's known for being Shah Rukh Khan.
People who give these large brand deals, right? What is the mindset of that brand manager looking to pair up with a creator?
If I was a brand manager, I will not sign it. Why the hell an RGO is doing a podcast with spiritual gurus? I think the problem is what is happening is agencies fight नहीं मारते हैं. Simple. The sales target है, brand ढूंढो, फटाफट connect करो, launch. All the influencer agencies in India, look at their team structure. The brand head is a max 25-year-old. They are not hiring from an ex-Ogilvy brand director किसको branding आता है. कहाँ से निकलेगा? You don't have majority crowd of marketers. You have a bunch of freshers. And why you have a bunch of freshers? Because you want to make larger profit margins.
You are a creator. That's the front end of things. And at the back end, you have a business. What would, let's say, your most important piece of advice for someone like that be?
If you are a dancer, I'm pretty sure dance में flexibility होगी. You can go and take कि okay, how to be flexible in your career, utilizing dance के principles. Travel influencer 1000 countries घूम चुका है, उसके पास insights होंगे कौन सी country में क्या होता है. Let me put all of those insights into a playbook and sell it to people or companies who are wanting to expand into an Indonesia.
This is part 2 to our conversation with Sindhu Biswal, a growth consultant to apps, startups, and tech companies. But before we get into the episode, I want to share something with you. 83% of you that listen to the show haven't yet subscribed. The biggest challenge to making content is staying motivated, and numbers go a long way in doing that. So if I could ask you for one simple favor, it would be to click on the subscribe button wherever you are listening to us. Our commitment to you is that if you do that, we will do everything in our power to make sure that this show is better for you every single week. We'll listen to your feedback, find the guests that you want us to speak to, and we'll continue to shed light on the most successful content playbooks that you can use to grow your content. It only takes 2 seconds for you, but means the world to us, while we bootstrap our way to our first 1,000 subscribers. Now let's jump into the episode. I've always wondered this. I've recently started working with like a large creator, right? I've always wondered ki for people who are at the forefront of what they do, let's say like a Shamani or a Ranveer Alabadia or Prakhar ke Pravachan now, what does their innovation look like? Because it is literally like content is something.
Do you think they innovate? What is your belief?
I believe they don't innovate.
They don't innovate.
No.
You talked about the post-production process, right? So I don't mean an innovation in creativity per se.
Okay.
But there is something that they are doing differently.
I feel like they're just trying to find that new target which probably is underserved. Just like whatever they're doing, just moving it in a different direction is what I think
feel like
they do.
there is some sort of, maybe innovation is not the right word, but there is some sort of new operation or hack or something that they're figuring out to do things at a certain scale that other people don't, right? For example, we just talked about Rajmani and his post-production process, right? That, hey, he has like 5 different teams doing things. We have talked to people who have worked with Beer Biceps, right? He has similar. He has like 30 editors.
Everyone
is pumping out shots. So it might be slightly different, but at that scale, I'm sure there is some sort of convergence, right? I'm currently working with like a large creator, 5+ million subscribers, and he has a certain operation of doing things that it takes like a level of obsession to come to, right? Yes, it's part of first principles thinking. But my question is, let's say you've reached 5 million subscribers, right? How do you go to 10 million? Because there's no playbook, right? We are at whatever, 300 subscribers. We are calling people. Things are working for us. We can always look at, hey, Colin Samir did this, Raj Shamani did this one did this. We can work from their playbooks. Working with this creator has made me question that there is nothing for you to look to. It's kind of like being pole position at an F1 race. Right? You are not chasing someone. It is arguably easier to be pole to because you know that, hey, there's the 2-second gap that I need to fill, right?
Also, if you ask yourself, why 10 million?
Right.
And I have asked this to a lot of creators.
Right.
And the references they give me, nahi, this US guy is at 10 million, I want to achieve there.
Right.
But when you go there, that person will be at 20 million.
Right.
I have 2 existential questions to all creators where And I have asked this to almost all, and no one has given me a relevant answer because they are like, and I think a lot of creators, and I think most of the creators are very, very aware that the lifespan is hardly 5 years. I mentioned this in Sanan's podcast as well. India बॉलीवुड का नहीं छोड़ता है, आप तो कुछ भी नहीं हो. They will make a Nawazuddin Siddiqui, make them relevant for 5 years, उसके बाद he's gone. This is a significant thing. Yes, creators के पास एक अलग चीज़ है. They are their community can talk to each other. A Shah Rukh Khan is timeless because he's not known for anything, because he's known for being Shah Rukh Khan. The problem
Tell
is
us
this.
more about this. This is too fascinating.
So the problem is when you are known for something, then you are attached to the something. If the something is dissolved, it's gone. So if Varun Maya is known for AI, what will you do after AI is gone? And it will be gone.
Or if Varun chooses to move on to something.
Or if Varun chooses to move on to something.
So the example that we were talking about, for
Yeah.
more context to the viewers, was that we were talking about brands and how it is better for a person, for a CMO or a brand manager to work with an actor versus an influencer
Correct.
or a creator.
Correct.
Because an actor is timeless because his locus of identity is internal.
Is internal.
Regardless of what movie, let's say
Yeah.
you guys are working with, it's public, right? You're working with Akko? Or you
Yeah,
can cut
it's
this
no,
part?
it's public. It's
Okay.
public. We are working with
So
R Madhavan.
You're working with Akko, and R Madhavan is like a significant part
Yeah,
of that,
yeah.
right? So now, regardless of what movies R Madhavan does, he will always be R Madhavan,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
So his identity is internal.
So for an example, with Akko, we have done R Madhavan with Rachna Ranade. Now imagine such weird combination. So I and my team have done Sid Warrior, R Madhavan, and then Saurabh. Saurabh is Healthify Me. Healthify Me is president. Koki combination. Rachna Ranade, Yashraj Mukhate, R Madhavan. ठीक है, like it's weirdly Koki combination. Every time I shoot, I ask myself how this guy Madhavan is relevant with a finance conversation,
Right.
with a divorce lawyer, Vandana Gupta, Vandana Joshi or Vandana Gupta, I forgot the surname, sorry. Then Radhika, Edelweiss ki CEO, and this guy is relevant, and no one in comment is asking
Why is he here?
why is he here. No one in the comment is asking.
How did that come about? Like, how do you even sell something like this to an Akko, saying, "Oh, I will take one actor and like 4 wildly different creators and then have a conversation"?
Madhavan was already there with them. ठीक है, we will not take credit for them to give it to us. Ulta the question was, hey, I have Madhavan, tell me what do you want to do with them. So we came up with this weird formats that, hey, actually we came up with this even weird formats which we have not attempted. We want to do it, which is my aspiration is I will like a Madhavan sit, a janitor sit, a small kid sit, and let's talk about death. That's it.
This is what Food Farmer is doing, right? But in food, but with like different people of, I think he took like auto drivers, Zomato drivers, all of, and then talking about. Yeah.
So my thought is, again, that's still a niche down. That's still a niche.
You just want to like go full whack.
I want to go full whack. I think people should be relating to someone for the emotion. Like podcast is about emotion, not for being the niche part. So let's say Prakhar ke pravachans, emotion is, let's say, philosophy and intellectualism or whatever that word is. And every podcaster should figure out a certain emotion line. Let's say the emotion of this is, let's say, curiosity. If the emotion is curiosity, you have wings to fly. But if the emotion is, for an example, let's say just content, you still have wings to fly. But let's say if the wings is just YouTube, then you will be dead when YouTube के साथ होगा उस पे. There is nothing wrong in doing that. But the moment you are attaching yourself in doing that, then brand collaborations को आप रोक रहे हो. आप पूरा का पूरा रोक रहे हो. So a Bhuvan Bam, looking a certain way when he started, will never ever get a fashion deal. So his Instagram personality has to be a certain fashionable person to get a fashion deal. And I'll tell you why. India में majority brand deals देने वाले कौन है? Lifestyle.
Right.
Some or the other lifestyle.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And fashion का ऊपर से नीचे shoe, specs, shirt, t-shirt, cap. Lifestyle is wide, very wide.
Right.
I think he has done, someone did with Ajio. Who? Bare Biceps did with Ajio.
He did with Agio, he did with Mountain Dew, फिर बंद हो गया.
I would love to touch up upon this. Like people who give these large brand deals, right? What is the mindset of that brand manager looking to pair up with a creator?
I have no clue. If I was the brand manager, I will not sign it. And hence I think that they pull it back. Like why the hell an Agio is doing a podcast with spiritual gurus, it
Right.
makes no brand sense to me
Is it
also.
just like top line कि हाँ भाई हमारा
Yeah, top
इतने
line
लोग
भी random है. I think what they have done, what the agency might have sold is, यार इनके followers ना 18 to 24 वाले हैं, ये लोग ये करते हैं वो करते हैं, and let's do that. I don't
Right.
think that makes any sense. I would rather sponsor a 10,000 views लेने वाला person which talks about India का fashion trends. It's still fine.
Right.
Or
so more surgical that way.
more surgical that way,
Like the
or
intent is
even
more clear also.
yeah,
with the
or
audience.
even let's say I would rather sponsor 5 celebrities sitting and talking anything, because then मैं celebrity association
Right.
लगाना चाहता हूँ. ये बहुत randomness है.
Because even I think with Raj Shamani, Porter did a integration,
Again-
and I was wondering how does that make sense? Like why
कोई-
is Porter integrating with Raj Shamani?
It's random. It's, see, you can sell anything. ठीक है, you can sell anything when you have money, but long term impact is weird. Like for an example, for Acco, I'll tell you, it still makes sense. I'll tell you why. Acco is insurance. Insurance is basically you take an insurance to live longer. Now, to live longer, there are eventualities of life. A divorce might happen, a death might happen, an ancestral property might happen.
So it's like second order.
You might lose your job.
You might lose your job. So
Right.
I'm only talking about, and all of the conversations that you check with Accos, that for a change
Yeah.
channel, which we are changing the name, we'll be announcing it soon, is about hardships of life. So there is one podcast about wills. That's it. आई एम नॉट यूजिंग द फर्स्ट प्रिंसिपल ओल्डर स्कूल कि मैं इंश्योरेंस का चैनल नहीं खोल दिया कि माधवन बैठ के इंश्योरेंस के बारे में बात कर रहा है, क्योंकि नो,
emotion.
I'm talking about the
under
emotion
insurance.
under the insurance. So hence I have a longer wing to fly, a larger wing to keep on flying around, and that's I was talking about कि ये basic brand 101 principles है. I think the problem is what is happening is agencies fight नहीं मारते हैं. Simple reality वही है. एजेंसी का क्या चल रहा होता है, सेल्स टारगेट है, ब्रांड ढूंढो, फटाफट कनेक्ट करो, लॉन्च. And I'll tell you why also. All the influencer agencies in India, look at their team structure. The brand head is a max 25-year-old fresher. Max to max. They are not hiring from an ex-Ogilvy brand director किसको branding आता है.
Right.
कहाँ से निकलेगा? You don't have majority crowd of marketers. You have a bunch of freshers. And why you have a bunch of freshers? Because you want to make larger profit margins. That's it. That could be a great business decision. That could be great. And you might be printing money. I am sure you might be printing money. But there is no logic to a brand while doing that. Like कोई इसलिए ये सब होता है और कुछ नहीं है. And इसमें खराब क्या हो रहा है मैं बोल देता हूँ. I feel the brand manager गाली देगा जाके कि ये प्रॉपर्टी अच्छा नहीं चला. वो गाली कौन सा ना, क्रिएटर, फॉर नो रॉन्ग रीजन. इट वॉज द एजेंट हु सोल्ड द रॉन्ग थिंग एंड क्रिएटर सेड यस बिकॉज उसको पैसे कमाने हैं और कुछ नहीं है. दुनिया इतनी छोटी है कि इफ़ आई हैव टू गो टू यू, इफ़ यू आर अ क्रिएटर, देन आई विल क्रॉस चेक विथ माई 5 अदर ब्रांड मैनेजर. अरे तूने डील किया था, कैसे चला, और वो मुझे ना बोलेगा तो मैं नहीं करूँगा, फिर मैं और किसी को ना बोलूँगा. दैट्स वाई द लॉन्गर फॉर्मेट प्रॉपर्टीज, लाइक हाउ मेनी ब्रांड डील्स यू आर नोटिसिंग इन पॉडकास्ट, कुछ नहीं है.
कुछ नहीं है.
कुछ भी नहीं है.
No, nothing. Almost.
बिकॉज नहीं हो सकता. कैसे होगा?
Right.
लाइक हाउ, व्हाट ब्रांड विल यू फोर्स फिट इन प्रखर के प्रवचन? लाइक व्हाट
Right.
ब्रांड?
Right.
It's an intellectual curiosity company. Yes, you might put a, will you put a B2B SaaS? I don't know. Will you put a coffee brand? Maybe.
Far-fetched. Tough.
But
It is
still far-fetched. So it's very tough.
Right.
And hence they will have to look at other monetization streams.
Right.
They will have to own multiple channels. They should own it. And hence I was telling you that they have to repurpose and launch multiple channels, because then आप wings बनाओगे.
In that case, let's say if I'm a Prakhar Ki Pravachan, right? Let's talk about him. And he has, assuming he talks to 4 verticals, right? He talks about politics, he talks about business, he talks about comedy, and he talks about cricket.
Correct.
For example.
Correct.
Right? And he has created 4 repurposed channels with content only around those 4 things coming from his original podcast. Now, are you saying that he should go and sell that to a brand? But wouldn't that mean, like, if I was a brand manager, I would imagine that, यार मेरे को एक चैनल तो मिल रहा है, but किसी और को दूसरा चैनल मिल रहा है, and that channel also has his face on it. This channel also has his face on it. So isn't there cannibalization that's happening?
Not really. So, okay. So currently, majority of the money that the podcasters are making is primarily from वो PR लेंस से बना रहे हैं, गेस्ट को चार्ज करके बना रहे हैं. ब्रांड साइड से देर आर फ्यू प्रॉपर्टीज दैट इज बिंग that the money is being made. Now, when your monetization stream is this small, you are forced to do other things. Like for an example, why Think School was launching a public speaking course. You have seen the public speaking course, right?
Yeah.
When I looked at the ad, I thought I'll ask Ganesh, but then I was like, "Yo, मैं बाद में बात करूँगा, मैं भूल गया." To me, it makes no sense. It clearly looks like someone is trying to make more money because पैसे नहीं बन रहे हैं बाकी जगह से, और वो true है. Zerodha deals opens up a new door. It's a great business model for them, but it's just one Zerodha for an example. Now, what is Zerodha getting out of it? Zerodha is using a production pipeline of a creator and a face to launch and jump on a spring pretty fast in this case. This can be done by a prakhar as well. For an example, a prakhar can reach out to an intellectual brand about geography, for an example, a large publishing house, for an example, to sell books and all. That can be done. But you need a certain brand strategist to constantly keep on thinking that. That is part one. But part two, which you are basically mentioning, is cannibalization. I don't think that will happen provided you create a separate brand identity of the channel. आपने सेम कंटेंट को रिपर्पस करके डाल दिया, देन इट विल फाइट विद ईच अदर. इफ योर पैकेजिंग इज, फॉर एन एग्जांपल, लेट्स से देयर इज अ सेपरेट पॉलिटिक्स का चैनल where all of the politicians you are cutting and putting it out there, separate sound, separate treatment, separate editing style and everything, pretty sure, check the YouTube analytics, you will be building a separate audience out of it, provided you are doing that thinking मैं politics का PR machinery एक अलग बनाऊंगा. I will build a politics strategist team separately, and I think it's a beautiful model to be made. Beautiful model. But for that, you need to stop thinking of yourself as a creator, and you are moving and channelizing yourself into a creator business. You put a political strategist who is heading at that, and you are just acting as a marketing machinery, जैसा exactly मैंने बोला.
Then how does that tie? I asked because we are also in the podcasting space. How does that tie back to the original IP? Because let's say Prakhar having a separate political IP makes sense, right?
Correct.
That hey, it looks and feels.
But what is the
different.
IP? What is the IP? PGX experience.
Yeah, let's say if it is that original parent
Correct.
podcast.
What I am trying to propagate is, what if not having an IP is better? Because there is no IP. What is the IP? IP is Prakhar only. Raj Shamani has a word called figuring out. Do you remember figuring out the most or Raj Shamani the most?
Raj
Shamani. तो वो क्यों फिगरिंग आउट का ज़बरदस्ती लेके करना? वो ज़बरदस्ती का जो आईपी बनाया, ओके, आईपी का मीनिंग ये होता है दैट इट शुड बी एग्जिस्टिंग विथ मल्टीपल फेसेस, not of your face.
Actually, this is that thing that you also have talked about, right? Which is why we started this line of thought, is that creators, to have a sustainable brand, right, or something that is lasting longer than themselves, they need to not be the face.
Exactly. Like for an example, 1% Club right now, when it started, was very Sharan. But right now,
Now it has more people.
Now it has more people. It has more people.
Like a Go Out by Zomato is another example.
Like a Go Out by Zomato, for an example. Now, if you go to Sharan ka page, 1% Club ka page, you will see lesser of Sharan, and it still get views. So, ये तो ज़बरदस्ती का भसड़ है. एंड वो भसड़ होता भी क्यों है, मैं बोल लेता हूँ. बिकॉज व्हेन अ क्रिएटर इज नॉट एबल टू डिसएसोशिएट हिमसेल्फ और हरसेल्फ विद द ओल्डर टारगेट. मैं खुद रहता हूँ, 1 million आता है. सो यू हैव सीन सो मच ऑफ 1 million दैट 10,000 लुक्स वेरी ऑड टू यू, एंड यू हैव फॉरगॉटन द जर्नी ऑफ 0 to 1. सो हेंस यू गोइंग, अरे नहीं यार 1 million कर लेते हैं, मैं आता हूँ उस पर. यू हैव टू put other people more, because that's why the name is existing.
This is the reinvention part.
This is a reinvention of that. And again, there is no IP, because PGX is Prakhar Gupta's experience. Your name is there.
Right.
You don't want to disassociate why you don't want, that's a separate. Like some people feel, like for an example, there is this guy, that very famous marketer who is bald, Neil Patel. नील पटेल की कंपनी का नाम नील पटेल है. नील पटेल है. यूट्यूब नील पटेल है. ही इज लाइक, मेरे को मरना है नील पटेल लेके. ही डजंट केयर. सो
again, not right or wrong, but
but
in
that's
the context of, for a great example is when you think of Tata, you don't think of Ratan Tata.
Exactly.
Right? When you think of,
you don't think of Jamshedi Tata as well.
Yeah.
Who is the founder of the main company.
Correct.
In this line, I've seen one creator community that has really killed it, which is specifically Dude Perfect. At least from what I can see, they have figured out, like, they have understood, they have hit the glass ceiling of, abhi, I don't think the channel will grow. The only way to grow is to make experiences happen, and we want new faces in the whole thing. Because Dude Perfect was just 5 people being on those videos. They have understood, no, we want to get in new faces.
Right.
We want to show them, and we want to build IPs around them as well. Like IPs which is creator independent, that we as Dude Perfect will own in the future.
Right.
And that's what will grow now.
Right.
Actually, on that note, I can think of so many examples. Vox did this. multiple faces.
A lot.
Now,
Right.
it comes with its
In
own
India, Time
challenges.
Center it is there.
Right.
Correct. BuzzFeed did the same in the US
Correct,
here.
correct.
I don't know if you know Good Mythical Morning. They started Mythical Kitchens with like a separate person. I think even Binging with Babish, he did this. Do we not have people like large channels in India doing something similar? Where like they have kind of split into multiple. Is Tech Burner doing something like this? He has Bright Show,
No,
where
no,
that
no.
one guy
That is different. That is different. But still, so no, Tech Burner is playing a different game. Tech Burner is one channel, but the other streams are separate businesses. Brightswell is separate, Overlay is separate, Anarch is separate, and all.
But coming back to the question, right, why are we talking about all of this? If let's say a creator is watching this, right, or a strategist for a creator is watching this, and they are semi-successful, right? They're, let's say they are 50 to 100k, between 50 to 500k on YouTube, similarly on Instagram, right? And they are thinking of, hey, I know that it is harsh reality that creators' lifespans are between 5 to 7 years, right?
That's still long.
Okay.
How much would you say?
2 years is reality. You have to reinvent yourself after every 3 years. That's the super reality. And by reinventing means every way. Like the production has to be different. Rajka also production is different. The setup is different. The chair is different. The style of talking is different. 2 years before, go and check Raj. He was doing vlogs. He started with vlogs.
Right.
Behind the scenes ka vlogs. Diary of a CEO, go and check. There was no need to start a behind the diary. There was no need to start. It's different. He will start something else after 2 years. So it's just, I think in India, it's 2 years. Bahar ka, I have no clue. I have not done that. Every 3 years, you have to keep on reinventing.
Okay.
And that reinvention can be of a different lens, either production
Right.
reinvention or a new channel or a new property
Right.
completely.
So someone who's in that position is watching this and they're like, hey, we are kind of in that zone where to a certain extent we have maxed out, right? We picked one niche, we have maxed out what we can do here. And we're thinking of what's next, right? So that's one part. Second is that because this industry is so new, like creator economy in India is, I would say, like 5 years, right? Couple that with the fact that it moves so quickly, right? Like the cycles are like 2 3, it probably will go even less with more and more people making content. Now AI is also there in the mix. What should someone in that position think from the business lens? If I look at myself, right, I'm a creator, I'm also a service owner, I'm a business owner, I'm also, let's say, an educator with this podcast, right? I want to be able to do this for a very long time. I'm not here to just be like, hey, the podcast hit 1 million views and okay, great. Okay, now we shut. I don't want to do that, right? So what is that mindset that I should have, or what are those few things that I should think about in order to have that sustainable business? Because the market is so new. No one knows what the fuck is happening. How should someone think of it that way?
I'll share some hard-hitting facts the way I have looked through. I'll tell you my journey that will be easier to explain. So I'll tell you my numbers. My numbers is Instagram पे 30k, YouTube पे 2.6, LinkedIn पे 32, Twitter पे 4. Nothing. This is nothing. ठीक है. But I'll tell you my numbers on monetization. LinkedIn पे I get one brand deal every 2 months worth 80,000. Instagram पे no brand deal. I am a face of some performance marketing ads and I make 50k or something every 2 months. I make 50 to 60k out of top mate every 2 months, which is coming from the content channel. सारा इकट्ठा करो 1.5 lakhs every 2 months.
Almost passive income.
Almost passive income. ठीक है. Now, if you correlate this with the number that I said, it has no math. Even if my number is the same, I can still increase this. ठीक है. Now, what does this tell you? This tells you that it's a false myth कि views का funneling is monetization. No. I used to think that when I started also. Wrong math. ऐसा नहीं है कि 100k होगा इंस्टा पे then only you will charge for a 50k. Yes, it is true in certain sense. What are you charging for? If you are charging for your distribution, then you are, for the brand manager, you are coming into the, okay, so how a brand manager's Excel sheet also looks, I'll just tell you. They check CPV. These days, in the last 6 months, they are checking CPV. CPV is what? What is Adil charging? Cost plus GST. And what is the views that Adil is giving me? Divide करूँगा, cost per view मिलेगा. They will ask performance marketing team, CPV कितना है? आदिल का CPV 2 रुपए है. POF का CPV let's say 0.18 है. It makes no sense. No sense at all.
Right.
So which means I will say no to the deal provided if Adil is not telling me वो 2 रुपए किस चीज़ के लिए है और है. So which means the agent or you have to train yourself how are you selling that premium. The way I will sell it, I'll tell you, hey, my Instagram is 6,000 views, but I still charge per video ka 25, and I'll tell you the exact deal I sell through. People who are my followers are celebrities, founders and investors, जिनके phone screen में आपको पहुंचने के लिए CPM लगेगा 500 rupees. मैं आपको ये CPM free में दे रहा हूँ. In the same cost. Point number 1. Point number 2, you are not talking to a creator, you are talking to an ex Paytm growth head blah 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 who is giving this content as an endorsement. So यहाँ पे एक endorsement का premium fee है. You want to not get endorsement, please go ahead with an 18-year-old kid who is creating 1 million views. You will get the views, not the endorsement. Point number 3, ये वाले वीडियो के थ्रू आप अगर ऐड चलाओगे, so it is not just a UGC content, it is a UGC content by an ex marketing head. So it's a double endorsement. So give me the ad rights of the exact same amount that another influencer will charge you, hence the premium. Number 4, if my name is there in the hook, the relevance with the marketing head community is even higher. Because if a random ass person is coming and saying that, hey, you should buy this tool, you should buy this, you should buy that, there is no allegiance of the buying behavior. Versus you put a logo, no followers. An ex marketing head of this person is telling you should buy this is very, very high versus anything like that. That's how I'm able to charge a premium. Now, it's a mindset shift. It is a lot of homework. How do you sell your distribution? It is a lot of homework on
how much it is worth to the
how
other
much
person.
it is worth to the other person. And second, I'm speaking in their language. I know कि वो CPV पे मेरे को जज करेगा, तो मैं पहले से चमका के चल रहा हूँ कि hey, you are getting a 25 plus your plus own crowd. Now comes the CPV math of views. The way I sell a LinkedIn property का video versus an Instagram property is this. मैं simply जाके brand manager को बोलता हूँ कि बॉस देख, LinkedIn पे 5,000 का अगर व्यू आएगा ना, उसमें 80% is HNIs. You have to pay me a 3x of that. HNI के पास तो जा रहा है. If you run the same ad on LinkedIn ads, you will get this. तो मैंने तेरे को डिस्काउंट दिया है टेक्निकली. सो मैं जब LinkedIn बेच रहा होता हूँ, आई एम कंपेयरिंग दैट विद अ LinkedIn ad. I'm not comparing that with a YouTube. Half of the deals fail because the way they do is they take two platforms and they compete with each other. They say कि okay, YouTube पे मेरा 25,000 है, LinkedIn पे मेरा 35,000 है. I'm like क्यों? 10,000 का क्यों प्रीमियम है? You should be charging more premium for that. Because the comparison, so a creator कैसा सोचता है? अच्छा मैं ना YouTube पे long format बनाऊंगा, so I should be charging higher because my मेहनत is higher. No, fucking no, यार your मेहनत is not higher there. It's the outcome you have to see.
How much value is it providing?
How much value it is providing there. If you have an 18 to 24 audience, तू जितना मेहनत कर वो नहीं देगा पैसा. If you have the audience who are followers, who are your VCs, even if you have 300 audience, you can charge a 5x. तो ये sales का packaging का game है, ये awareness का game है, ये mindset shift का game है. That is part 1. Part 2, opening up other channel streams. Even if I have 10,000 views, I can still capitalize on my older pedigree, go to a B2B SaaS company, tell them, तुम जो परफॉर्मेंस मार्केटिंग में एड रन करते हो ना, मेरे को कास्ट करो एज एन एक्टर, लेट्स से, इवन इफ आई डोंट हैव अ डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन, बिकॉज कास्ट के लिए तो कोई पॉइंट नहीं है उस पर. आई विल से कि मेरे को 25,000 दे दे, पुट माई नेम, गिव मी एड राइट्स, आई कैन गो इवन बोल्ड, run my ad. If my ad gets you lesser CAC, give me a 2% out of your marketing spend. Keep on running as many times as you want. मैं हर महीना तेरे को फ्री में दूंगा एक एक्स्ट्रा रिफ्रेश रेट. I have wrote books for B2B saying that hey, I'm a LinkedIn top voice of a blue badge which is harder to get. So you can put in your book that hey, a LinkedIn top voice badge wrote it. So let me charge you for writing the book. I have reviewed some courses, just review, nothing else. Here there is no, मतलब ये pedigree के ऊपर है कि I have done this. It has got nothing to do with content creation. Every time a new ad gets launched, I am trying to pitch to the brand that hey, I will put an ad review video on my LinkedIn. So here I am not selling that hey, if you have a marketing deal, come to me. You have launched your ad, na? Who is distributing that ad? No one. I know no one in the influencer agency will go to you and tell you कि यार आपको ना डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करना चाहिए. पूरा मार्केट में खाली गैप है ना, क्योंकि डील कैसे काम करता है, ब्रांड को नीड है वो तभी आएगा. No in the influencer marketing business is going and upfrontly or proactively reaching out, hey, Cred has a new ad, you should go to Adil and say कि Adil एक रिव्यू वीडियो डालेगा ज्ञान सेंट्रल में. No one is going and doing that. And that's where my pain point is, that agencies are not actually proactively reaching out. What they're essentially doing is, deal आ रहा है, मैं बीच में जबरदस्ती कट लेके ले. मतलब there is no, तू रहे ना रहे कोई सेंस नहीं बनता. And if a creator is smart enough, I'll put an intern. Why the hell I need an agency to do that? My intern will do a much better job. Again, for an example, let's say you are a podcasting agency. You have your setup, right? You can rent your setup as a production house. It has got nothing to do with your channel. A Think School, if they do great research, they can
Research as a service.
they can do research as a service to creators as well, to brands as well. Like I'm an agency. I want researchers, fintech specialist researchers for my fintech brand. But none of the fintech agencies have reached out to me telling me that, hey, please take me. No one has told me.
You know, this was something that we were also thinking. I did this one LinkedIn post jahan pe I just like checked the feel for, hey, I have figured this one research thing out on podcasting. Would you be interested? And wo maine thoda engagement farming type ka kiya, and it worked out much better than I expected, right? Same thing with Gyan Center. Like, I was talking about some new video ideas to a friend, and he was like, dude, this, you should tell people about this. Like, how are you doing this, right? So if I were to summarize what I have understood as a creator and let's say a podcaster and agency owner, is that you have to identify in your entire problem, right? Or the arc of making every piece of content. If you are really good at it, you have optimized certain parts of the process that would be valuable to other people, right? Now, can you package that as a service? That's the easiest. Or can you take parts of it and think where else are these applicable? That might be obvious or unobvious ways, right? For example, if I was Gyan Center पे अगर मैं सिर्फ finance का कर रहा हूँ, then I'm really good at finance research. Let's say when finance with Sharan was up and coming, मेरे को हमेशा, like, I used to have this question कि where the fuck is he getting these ideas?
Exactly.
Where is he finding these things, right? So for example, if you are an agency owner who is working with a large fintech brand, so it would make sense for Finance with Sharan to say that, hey, I have figured this thing out.
Exactly.
Are you interested?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Or for us, like you said, what are those lateral verticals where you can get into which cost you nothing but might be valuable to the other person?
100%,
Right?
100%.
What are some like these weird ways that you have come across to like monetize content? Yeah.
As a creator or as a agency?
Across the board. Across the board.
Casting is beautiful. I feel like renting yourself out as an actor, beautiful. I feel beautiful, super underutilized.
Like you go and become the speaker for something.
No, you rent yourself in the ad. So let's say I look a certain way and I reach out to a production house and say, anytime you get a B2B SaaS company, just call me. उनको बेचो कि सिंधु नीचे वो टाइटल लगाता है ना, क्योंकि टाइटल में पावर है. फॉर अ B2B टाइटल इज पावरफुल. इमेजिन रेजर पे का CEO को आई कैन पुट एज अ कास्ट. इट्स सो पावरफुल. इमेजिन एप्पल का इंडिया हेड को आई कैन पुट एज अ कास्ट. इट्स एन अंडर यूटिलाइज्ड एरिया फॉर देम बिकॉज दे आर लाइक वॉट, मैं रील बनाऊंगा तो ही पैसा कमाऊंगा. नो, आई कैन डू अ कास्ट. दैट इज पार्ट 1. पार्ट 2 इज राइटिंग फॉर समवन एल्स. दैट्स
Ghost writing.
No, writing for an ad. So the way you sell it is, let's say I'm a performance marketer, ex-performance marketer of a fintech company. That means I have wrote enough ads. So if I have left the company, I go to another ditto and I say, I will write your ads. And why you should trust me and not some other agency? Because I have been in that ecosystem for longer enough. I know कौन से writing पे CAC गिरेगा. So give me 5 writing mandates. That is second. Third is packaging your services, your microservices in a different way. So let's say you are a podcast agency, but let's say if I don't sell you as a podcast agency, I say that, hey, you guys stand for curiosity as a content bucket. One IP is GAN Central, this IP is a second IP, there is a book that you are writing, and let me reach out to a company that is a nerdy company. Now, what are the nerdy companies? For an example, let's say a book review company or a book aggregator. There are your apps, right? Book summarizers and all stuff. Their also underlying sentiment is, let's say, nerd. And then I say, hey, there are these researchers and nerd who are sitting out there who can write your website content, who can design your next ad. They have a production house as well. They will make your next ad beautiful. You should not go to a funny ad maker. They don't understand. These guys understand this. You're setting out of a massive gold mine which you are not selling it at like that, because आपने तो अपने आप को सोच रखा है मैं पॉडकास्ट हूँ, पॉडकास्ट बेचूंगा.
Typecasting yourself.
You are typecasting yourself. Always sell as a underlying emotion. क्या है? The underlying emotion is curiosity as a service. Let's say for an example.
Very interesting. But how big of a business can you build that way?
It will be for sure bigger than what you are right now. How much bigger depends on your creative instincts. That's it. Like again, I think Tech Burner is a beautiful example, because what is Tech Burner's identity? Someone who is fun, someone who is colorful, someone who is bright, someone who is a nerd, someone who is tech. उसने सारे चीज़ों को अंडरलाइन कैपिटलाइज किया. अनार्क गैजेट्स के टेक के दुनिया में बैठता है. ओवरलेज कलरफुल की दुनिया में बैठता है, बिकॉज टेक बर्नर का सारा कंटेंट हैज बीन ब्राइट एंड कलरफुल एंड स्टफ, हेंस ही कैन सेल अ टी शर्ट एज वेल, बिकॉज ही डजंट लुक लाइक अ नर्डी गाय है. आज दोस्तों चालू करते हैं ये नहीं, ही हैज़ बीन अ फन पर्सनैलिटी. ब्राइट सो इज नथिंग बट प्रोडक्शन अपने टीम को एसेट पे प्रोवाइड कर लिया उस पर. नो, नथिंग स्टॉप्स हिम टू सेल राइटिंग एज अ सर्विस. नथिंग स्टॉप्स हिम टू गो टू अ सैमसंग एंड से कि मैं आपके लिए एड्स बनाऊंगा. Nothing stops him to create a GTM strategy for a new brand, because they have been doing GTM so much for organic content. They can start an organic GTM strategy for tech brands. That's it. A different vertical altogether. So this opens up a larger TAM. कितना large होगा वो तुम्हारी भूख के ऊपर है. That's it. Nothing else. The underlying summarizer is basically stop thinking yourself as just a creator. Remove that God complex. Think yourself as a team. The asset is the team. The power is a team. I think team is the most underutilized asset, because essentially what you are doing, your team has a certain salary, your team has a certain time, you are making views out of that time, and hence you are making money out of that time, right? Even if I stop these views tomorrow, I utilize the same team to just put money, I can make a larger chunk of money. Now the moment you start thinking like this, now what will happen is you will get into a existential crisis and realization that views and monetization is not parallel. The moment you go into that zone, you will think of yourself as a much bigger power, that hey, I have not built views, I have built allegiance. That's the nuance. So a 1 million creator thinks that he has views. No, he has allegiance, he has power, he has access. A Varun Maya is not having views, he is having access to go to a Sundar Pichai. He is not following that rat race ki views pe jao, and access to reach out to an Adobe CEO.
Same with Nikhil Kamath.
Right.
Yeah, like
a great example.
He's a great example. Like even if he was 30K, he still has access to Anil Mohan. Just because he has a big team right now, a production house, he can rent the production house to anyone. Now suddenly Nikhil Kamath's team is now competing with your Beer Biceps team, your Shamani's team, your production houses and everything, because they have all rights to signal to the brand managers that hey, I have access to Neil Mohan and I can put your brand in touch with Neil Mohan, just give me some money. So they have also access to open up a PR agency tomorrow because he has access. You have all rights to open a PR agency tomorrow. Okay, B2B brand, if you are a B2B brand from US trying to launch in India, I have access to India's top shot marketers and creative folks. Give me 5 lakhs, 6 lakhs. I will build a GTM strat. Under my GTM strat, podcast is one of them. Under my GTM strat, creating videos with Sindhu and other stuff is one of them. Under my GTM strat, Sindhu will himself come on board and will write ads for you. And we will charge a certain for you. You are sitting on a massive gold mine out there.
Very interesting. That's a totally different way of looking at, again, like disassociating from the status signaling of, hey, I have so many views.
Exactly.
To understanding like fundamentally what is your unfair advantage,
Correct.
right? If we were to summarize everything, right? And we touched up a lot on the agency side of things and quite a bit on the creator side of things in terms of monetization, right? Let's take our example, because I feel there would be a lot of people who would relate to what we are doing, where you are a creator, right? You have, that's the front end of things, and at the back end you have a business, right? What would, let's say, your most important piece of advice for someone like that be? If their goal is to, one, be sustainable long term, so have that creative fulfillment of, hey, we are doing this thing with content, at the same time not have to worry about यार views नहीं आ रहे हैं, or views आ रहे हैं but कल चले जाएंगे, platform will change, this will change, and we have figured out how to balance the two together, right? So if someone is trying to do that, what would your biggest piece of advice be?
Are you someone who is chasing views or followers?
I'm chasing money.
Chasing money. You are very clear about that.
Yeah, so I can tell you personally, for me, content is. I would be lying if I said it's not vanity. Definitely, it part
It's a
of it
marketing
is.
tool for you to increase monetization, is it?
It's a way for me to get my foot in doors that I wouldn't get otherwise.
Which is a marketing tool. Which is a marketing
Yeah.
tool.
So it's like it's a great conversation starter that hey, I have a 100K channel. Right?
Correct.
It's a great conversation starter for me to just share a link to you.
Correct.
You open it and you're like, oh wow, you do this level of production.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So views is a great consequence. Again, I also look at views as hey, when people look at your channel, right? They don't look at oh kitna engagement aaya, oh kitna shares hua. They just look at what numbers can they see on top. And that is what what the primary use case of content is. Secondary use case for me personally is that hey, I am putting out something that I like. Right?
For you, it's also the same thing.
Yeah, pretty much. I feel like, see, if you once you have money, you automatically have freedom to do whatever you want.
For me personally, this is it, right? Like if I had all the money in the world, or let me rephrase, if I had to pay to do something, I'd be doing this. If I had all the money in the world and I had no reason to, I could just like sit and chill forever. I would eventually get bored and do this.
So which means you are still in a beautiful situation. So if I have to divide India's content creators into two parts, there is this, which is they are creating content as a marketing function for anything. That could be access, that could be top line, that could be anything to channel, let's say, the content business or anything to make money out of. And there are other people who are creating content for the joy of it. Like there are travelers, there are writers, shires and all who are doing content. दोनों में बहुत difference है, ठीक है? The second one are artist community. It is basically the people who leave a job and do start doing painting. वहाँ पे लॉजिक रैशनलिटी नहीं बनता है, ठीक है? वहाँ पे द थिंग इज योर क्राफ्ट हैज़ टू बी सो रिनाउंड फॉर यू टू चार्ज द प्राइस पॉइंट फॉर द क्राफ्ट. हियर यू आर नॉट चार्जिंग फॉर द क्राफ्ट. लाइक ऐसा नहीं है कि ओके ज्ञान सेंट्रल का एडिटिंग इस लेवल का है कि मैं उसके लिए प्राइस दे रहा हूँ. इट हैज़ गॉट नथिंग टू डू विद द क्राफ्ट एट ऑल. योर मेजरमेंट ऑफ मनी इज इनफैक्ट नथिंग टू डू विद दिस पॉडकास्ट ऑल्सो. कि ऐसा नहीं कि द कॉन्वर्शन ऑफ पॉडकास्ट इज सो हाई दैट्स वाई आई एम गेटिंग द मनी एट ऑल. सो दोनों के रूट्स अलग अलग हैं. The second wala route, I feel, you have to chase that nirvana stage of you to fulfill your desires and dreams in that craft, and don't try to mix that up with a business. You cannot, because you are an artist. An artist cannot be a capitalist, or even if they can be a capitalist, but an artist is technically a philosopher, and let the philosopher within you stay alive. And maybe the best compliment is you figure out an agent or a business person who becomes your co-founder to take care of other stuff. Now those other stuff can be in different routes. That can be as a speaking session, that can be as a book writing session, teaching in a college. Like you can be a great artist who is into paintings and who goes to MBA colleges and teach how to make great decks. Simple. But that thought generally comes from the agent or the business manager. It's exactly like this, that you have great artists and relationships, A&R कहते हैं in the record label community, that okay, you are a great pop star person, you make money out of your music, but if you're a great, let's say you do great dance, I can take you and do a dance class as well and make money out of it. So that is a different territory.
You know, fuck, as you're saying this, I just realized all these people that dance on Instagram, right? A fucking phenomenal business model would be to start like a new age Shamak Davar, right?
Exactly.
Shamak Davar dancing class.
Yeah.
A lot of people do. A lot of
people do. A monetization stream that is there, which is undertapped, is basically this. And I'll take the analogy of ex-army men. What ex-army men do? Ex-army men utilize army principles, go to a private job and start teaching management techniques from the army. So they are cross-linking and making money out of it. उनको किसी ने बोला नहीं है कि तुम जाके करो इसको. I'm pretty sure there are sports principle, if you are a football player, that you can utilize in team building. And you can tie up with an HR company and start going कि okay, मैं training session लेने वाला हूँ team building activity का. Corporate. You don't need to go and ट्रेन कॉर्पोरेट में डांस कैसे करते हैं. इट्स स्टिल लीनियर थिंकिंग. इफ यू आर अ डांसर, आई एम प्रिटी श्योर डांस में फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी होगी. यू कैन गो एंड टेक कि ओके, हाउ टू बी फ्लेक्सिबल इन योर करियर यूटिलाइजिंग डांस के प्रिंसिपल्स. सो बट किसी को एक पैकेज करके इसको बेचना पड़ेगा. एंड आई थिंक अनदर बिजनेस आइडिया, इफ आई हैव टू स्टार्ट एन इन्फ्लुएंसर मैनेजमेंट कंपनी, लेट मी नॉट सेल डायरेक्ट placements. What if I take a travel influencer and take them to a corporate and start teaching ki okay, how do you use India के बाहर international expansion of business के thoughts, whatever. Travel influencer 1000 countries घूम चुका है, उसके पास insights होंगे कौन सी country में क्या होता है. Let me put all of those insights into a playbook and sell it to people or companies who are wanting to expand into an Indonesia.
Crazy, dude. Like, what are those? You talked about Paytm and Ganesh going and talking to that one pan wala.
Exactly.
So, if let's say the same Paytm has to expand to an Indonesia, why don't you talk to the travel influencer that has gone there and stayed for like
so
a
I
month?
will do a combination of 5 travel influencers, do a con call with them, put all of the insights and sell it.
Right.
Okay, there are a lot of business models I can just keep on claiming and uspe.
Fuck, that makes so much sense because even these founders, when they come on podcasts, right, and they give you like some profound insight. I remember Dunzo or maybe Swiggy, they had this insight that people who are, or maybe Blinkit, Zomato, I think, ki in tier 2, tier 3 cities, it is the mother who is deciding what is going to be eaten in the house that night. And if she is tired or if she is she's not in the mood to make food, that is when they switch and be like, okay, Zomato kholo.
Right.
So without that insight, their growth would not have been possible.
True. The only one philosophy that will keep you going is basically if you dissect views into your monetization arm is separate. You put a CEO or something or a co-founder or something who is taking care of that. But the game is utilize every asset you have, every asset. Cameras on rent, lightbox on rent, people on rent, mind on rent, skill on rent. ऐसे खाली लिखोगे ना 1000 चीज़ें निकलेंगे. टाइम ऑन रेंट, ये ऑन रेंट, वो ऑन रेंट, टेबल ऑन रेंट. मतलब every bits and pieces that is available here can be on rent in this particular order. Second, the model I was telling you, that your MRR and your EBITDA or the gross profit margin, it has to be looked like a business. You will not treat it content बना उस पर ये करेंगे नहीं. The moment you look into business, आप क्या करते हो? My expenses are this much, my capital is this much, my hour of people committing is this much, my output is this much, and my money made is this much, and my gross profit margin is this much. After tax, my EBITDA is this much. Once you keep on looking at it ना, आपको nuances मिल जाएंगे. What you need to do. Then your views wala part. I think we are at that time where we need to stop caring about views and care about impressions. Because exactly as I told you, we shoot this podcast. If I have to do views, I will cut more and more content. I will put it in one channel. If I look at cumulative views, I will create multiple channels. But if I start doing impressions, I might convert this into an audiobook and convert it into an audio. I might transcribe this and create LinkedIn post out of it, Twitter post out of it. I can then create multiple shorts and again just create a short channel out of it. वहाँ पे I can cut this, whatever I just said, put this into an insightful playbook, do a partnership with me, let's say for an example, a 60-40 rev share or 50-50 rev share or whatever the rev share that we agree upon. Then you go out to people who are looking for content business, like the monetization companies, content creation companies, and say, Sindhu का ये पूरा का पूरा insights है, आपको पास अगर टाइम नहीं है 3 घंटा पॉडकास्ट सुनने का, हियर इज इट, आई कैन सेल यू फॉर 1000 रुपीज, टेक इट. सिंधु को 50% रेफ शेयर जाएगा एंड ऑल. एंड आई कैन पुट यू इन एक्सेस विथ सिंधु. And Sindhu generally charges, let's say, at 15,000 per consultation. Via us, if you do, we will charge you 10,000 plus compensation, and we will do a rev share on that model and that. So basically, what you did is, let's say I was on your team, you are utilizing your own team ka asset as a freelancer economy, and you are not falling into the rabbit hole. नहीं तो मैं प्राइवेट लिमिटेड हूँ, मैं इसके साथ तो खाली अपना ही काम करवाऊंगा. मैंने और एक ओपन अप करवा लिया. Like my editor can sell editing courses via me. Why should he do separately? I should be unlocking that power. My writer should not be doing freelancing somewhere else. Let me unlock the power with my writer and say कि भाई मैं तेरे को writer contract देता हूँ ना, तू कर, तू और 5 लोग लेके आ जो बाहर करेंगे, वो मेरे साथ affiliate नहीं रहेंगे. You run the show. Yeah, that's how you will be able to unlock monetization plus impressions. Because impression are a function of different formats of content. Newsletters, this, that, research, Twitter threads, blah, 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 whatever that thing is. Yeah, that's the summary of the whole.
But no, that makes sense. I feel you have given us a lot to think about, and this has been an extremely insightful episode. Just to finish off, we have a couple more minutes. Who do you think
We should
we should call
him
next?
I would like you to get a Manish Pandey and ask him tougher questions. I don't think anyone has asked him tougher questions. I think I'm bored out of people asking आप mentor क्यों हो beer bicep के. I would like to hear that. I would like to hear Tech Burner का production head. You asking him questions about what is happening. I would like to see Raj Shamani ka, whosoever is researching and bringing those guests, and talk about what is your SOP in figuring out who the guest is and how do you outreach. If someone says how do you do that? I would love to watch that content. That content is not available.
We're actually thinking on similar lines. We want to call Meghna, if you know Meghna. She's the head of everything, if I'm not wrong, at WTF. So we want to call her and ask her about all of these things. So
Yeah,
Meghna,
yeah,
if
absolutely,
you're
you
watching,
should.
you're on the radar.
Yeah.
But that
You
makes
should
sense.
do a roundtable of all guest outreach people of all
Oh yeah,
podcasters.
that'll be so cool.
Just get guest outreach वालों का.
Yeah.
And talk about very tougher questions. Who was the toughest person to reach out to? Do you guys get into wars? कि okay,
This person is coming on my
कि
guest,
हाँ, कि
my
हाँ,
podcast today,
my
not
podcast
your
वाला,
podcast.
and then you are like double pitching कि नहीं उसके पास मत जाओ मेरे पास आओ and all stuff.
Very
Yeah.
interesting.
Right.
No, that makes sense. Hi, this is Adil, your co-host at The Content Playbook, and if you like that episode, you should definitely check this one out.